And we are live. Welcome to this week's Crypto Rewind. Last week in crypto, today. Opinions, thoughts on news that have happened this past week in cryptocurrency. It is myself, Chris Rice from Rice TVX, and Sean from Satoshi Sean. Hopefully we're streaming on both Rice TVX and Satoshi Sean's channel, but we'll find out here in just a moment. If we are not streaming on Satoshi Sean's channel, we will upload this video after the live stream. So we're going to go ahead and get things started. We are joined today. Our special guest is Cryptygirl, and you can find all of her information listed down below in the video description. And before we begin, this is a sponsor of both Rice TVX and Satoshi Sean. And if you're watching this on Rice TVX, I have information down below in the video description for the sponsors, Monarch, which is a dual sponsor, and also for Pre-Search and BitSwap Dex, which are sponsors of Rice TVX.
BitSwap is the hottest new way to trade tokens. Crawling all the top decentralized exchanges, BitSwap will get you the very best price and value for your trades. BitSwap is changing the game. Try it now. BitSwapDex.com.
Sean, turn your volume down because I just quickly turned up your microphone and I heard that echo. All right, so we are live. I appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. Have you checked on your channel, Sean? Are we live?
We are not live on my channel.
Okay, well, we will try to get that worked out for next Friday. 100%. I apologize. We did do this on extremely short notice, and I know that you were fueled by a lack of sleep, which you had to catch up on today. So, and we did a stream yesterday. It was a non-crypto related stream. If you want to check that out, the Great Awakening Town Square Roundtable discussion. Me and Sean were joined by Eric Sullivan and Tom Patterman from Consent to the Governed. So if you haven't checked that out, I encourage you to check that out. But we're going to cover the last week in crypto news. And before we introduce Cryptygirl, I guess, Sean, how's everything been with you this past week, Sean?
Well, it's okay, man. Crypto-wise. It's been a crappy week, but glad to be here hanging out. Looking forward to doing the show.
Yeah, you've had a lot of interesting things happening, some tragic, and it sucks. But I'm glad that you're staying positive through it all. I mean, it's really all that we can do when we're dealing with tough situations. But thanks for taking the time to do this with me today. And Cryptygirl, thank you. I appreciate you accepting our invitation to join on such short notice. But thank you. How are you today?
I'm doing great, and sorry to hear, Sean, that things aren't going as well. But yeah, thank you for having me on. I'm excited to talk to you, Rice and Sean.
Sweet. Well, we're definitely looking forward to it. And this is your first time going to be on my channel and Sean's channel, ultimately. So for people who are unfamiliar with you that aren't all over Twitter and Instagram and such, do you mind kind of giving a little background on who Crypty is and how and when you got involved in crypto?
Man.
Do what?
All over Instagram.
All over it. No, she's a Gen Zer. She's using social media. She's
Totally
smart. She's smart with the social media stuff, man.
For those of you that
thank
aren't
you.
all over the Instagrams, we've got Cryptygirl.
Cryptygirl.
I like that. Nice radio voices. Yeah, so I'm Cryptygirl. That's my pseudonym. I am a Gen Z, like they were saying, and I started investing in cryptocurrency in mid-2018. And what really attracted me was both the principles of freedom, financial freedom, self-sovereignty, and the other side of the potential for your money to be appreciating in price instead of depreciating and always losing value, always losing purchasing power. So I'm like, wow, this is awesome. I regain financial freedom. I'm holding my own keys. No one can take it away from me again. And I might have gains. So I thought that was super cool. then I was like, wow, I need to get the rest of Gen Z into cryptocurrency, because this would give us a great chance to give us a head start in life. Because if you think about it, every single decade, it gets harder for that generation to start a life on their own, if you're thinking about it, because the purchasing power is decreasing so much. It makes it harder to buy a house for the first time, and your job wages aren't really increasing with the rate of inflation and things like that. So I got involved by starting my own business called CRYPTY Shop, and I'm selling crypto apparel for Bitcoin, Ethereum, DigiByte, other cool crypto designs. And then I was like, well, yeah, I'm spreading the message through my apparel, through crypto. So you can wear premium apparel and people can ask you about it on the street, right? So I'm like, this is great. But I also started making content on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. So just trying to contribute in like all the best ways I can. Oh, thank you so much for sharing my shop.
Oh yeah, I was
really
planning
nice
on
of you.
I was planning on sharing your your YouTube channel, your shop, your merch shop. So and everything as far as your social media sites and what we talk about in today's episode is going to be listed down below in the video description. So if you want to follow CRYPTY
Thank you.
anywhere or where, that's how you can do so. And here's her YouTube channel. Links are down below. Let's get her subscriber numbers up. And
that's perfect.
and then Sean's channel, obviously, make sure if you guys are watching this, make sure you guys are subscribed to Satoshi Sean as well.
You said a mouthful there, but you said a lot of things that are I think people really need to hear,
especially from someone young.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah. I was just talking.
And to not go too off crypto, and get to like philosophical and kind of political. We're so divided as a planet, really. I mean, we could say it's in the United States, but it really is all over the place. There's such division, whether it's by race or class or whatever. But in the United States, it's very, very by age. We're really, really divided, and that's really pushed. And you really hit the nail on the head, because the powers that be, they don't want people to understand what you just said. The
financial literacy not taught in public
the OK
school.
Boomer thing came about, and there's anger. There's anger at my nephews and my kids, and all of Gen Z is pissed because you boomers had it easy, and then boomers are like, no, we didn't. We had to go through the war and this and that, and we scrimped and we saved. But everybody wants to blame someone, and what's really to blame is, like you said, it's not that houses are so much more expensive. It's not that things are so much more expensive or that wages are low. What really happened is the money went down in value. People's purchasing power went down in value. So they're still making the same amount of money or currency, but it's worth less. And that house costs the same, but what you're buying it with, you need more of it. I mean, if you got paid in gold, and you've always got paid in gold, and everyone got paid in gold, that house would be about the same.
I'd say that's true.
Well, yeah, it's. I always make the point that Ford used to be able to get the option to get paid in gold, and if you look at what someone back in the 1930s made, they would make more money today at making, because they got I think it was 30 ounces of gold a year. So for them to get 30 ounces of gold, just a regular line worker.
A lot.
So a regular line worker, if they got paid 30 ounces of gold today, would be making about the same or more. They would be making probably 10 or 15% more than they made back then. So it's not that, that money, that things cost more. It's that people, what they have,
can't
they
buy
a bunch
as
more
much
of it to pay for. But it's a lot easier to say, those people screwed everything up. Those people took everything. Those people ruined everything. It's not the bank's fault. It's not mismanagement of the financial system. And that really is what people need to see. So it's like I said, just it was very, very wise words. And I wish more people would get that.
No, I mean, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to invite her on, because she's not just a young person who's getting involved in crypto. She seems to have a smart head on her shoulders. So, and it's good to promote that mentality and let other people see that it's not just people like me and you, Sean, and other different people are seeing as content creators, you don't see a lot of younger women. So, I mean, highlighting that I think is definitely worth doing, and not just because of the fact that you're a woman. I've had younger men on the show as well that are Generation Z. I try my best to try to promote people that are educating, helping us to educate the masses, because we need to reach everyone. And there's people that I'm not going to be able to reach, that Sean can reach, that Sean can't reach, that I can reach. And same thing goes for you. And that's how we're able to effectively educate the masses as far as cryptocurrency is concerned.
Thanks, Johnny Rico. And Phil, inflation is a scam. There's no such thing as inflation. Things don't go up in cost, man. Really. It's your purchasing power that goes down. The dollar has been going down forever.
It's worth 3 cents of what the dollar used to be when it was first issued.
Yeah, it's like 90 some percent.
Power is 3 cents.
Yeah, worth less.
Hey guys,
get some Hex community in here.
Woo!
Obviously, I know that
very
you're
supportive. Love them.
I know. Before we get into talking about Hex, because I want to talk a little bit about this Pulse chain thing. I'm not sure how familiar Sean is with that, but I know that since you've gotten involved in crypto, you're like an ambassador with Celsius. You're involved with the DigiByte ambassador team. I think you just recently became an ambassador for Mad Evolution, who we see the logo behind you. You're in the studio there today. Yes. Tell us a little bit about everything that you're involved in aside from the Hex, and we'll get into Hex right after that.
Totally. I'd love to. I am a core member of the DigiByte Awareness Team, and that's a volunteer position. And I'm helping out with making DigiByte posts on the DigiByte Instagram account and trying to get listings and just general awareness and things. I'm a Celsius ambassador. That's also volunteer and just general awareness for Celsius. And if you guys don't know what Celsius is, that is a lending and borrowing platform alternative to big banks. So you can deposit Bitcoin and earn interest in Bitcoin. So you're earning interest on your crypto. And yeah, a couple weeks ago, I got involved with Mad Energy, and the show they have on YouTube is Mad Evolution. I'm traveling right now, so I'm actually using their studio today. I'll be going home tomorrow. But yeah, I'm a Mad ambassador now. And Mad is really cool. I have a lot of things to say about that. But do you want me to just like give a one sentence, or do you want to jump into that?
If you want to kind of briefly describe it, I can bring you back on the show another time and we can highlight some of these things in a lot more detail as well.
That sounds good. So MAD stands for Make a Difference, and they are a team bringing the funding and facilitating green energy technology, renewable energy technology that's going to be much more efficient and cleaner and greener, and alternatives to solar and wind energy. And a lot of it will focus on hydro-powered energy and geothermal energy, but everything they're doing, the technology, will be available for the average person to invest in. And so it'll be the people funding this new green energy revolution again, so that we can all have more efficient, cleaner energy, and it'll be helping the planet. But I really love that it's giving the people a chance to invest in this thing instead of just Wall Street blocking it off. So we're going around Wall Street, and that's what I love. And also they're issuing a security token. So that's how you can invest in it, the people can. And they're going to be using blockchain technology. So
that's what I was going to ask you.
Project, so I'm excited.
I was going to ask you about that. So they're going to actually do a security token. So yeah, I'd like to, talk to you a little bit more in detail. And if Sean's interested, he'll know how to get in touch with you as well.
Cool. Let's do it.
But it sounds really cool. When you were talking about just everything about the energy, those are things that we definitely need to be working on. Mm-hmm. I'm not for the argument that Bitcoin is necessarily consuming too much energy, but anything that we can do to alleviate those kind of things and minimize it and get to renewable, reusable, and alternate energy sources, I think would be definitely 100% beneficial.
Absolutely.
Sean, have you heard about this? I know you're familiar with Hex, but have you heard about Pulse Chain and what it is? Are you familiar with that?
I just heard it's all a scam, man. It's all a scam. Everything's a scam.
everything's a scam.
No,
of course.
yeah, I've heard, I got, checked it out because, I like Richard. And I've been kind of watching it from the get-go a few months ago when he started, talking about it. There's a lot of things that are confusing about it to me now, especially since I think we talked about it. And then you confused the shit out of me because you're talking about the fork. It's forking Ethereum.
Yes.
But then this is the question that me and Rice had. Does that mean that it forks all forks, so that you're going to get a drop of every ERC20? But it'll be ERC20.
You'll get ERC20s, but not every ERC20. I'm going to bring somebody from the Hex community on to explain it a little bit better, but it's basically, it depends on how the ERC20 was created, and it would allow for a version of it to be created on Pulse. The idea is that if Pulse can get all the, in my opinion, and I'll have Crypty explain it from her opinion, but because of all the transaction fees and stuff being so high and the congestion in the network, there was improvements being done to the protocol. So it was, the idea is that it would be an Ethereum killer, like replacing Ethereum. Is the idea that Richard Hart's
every ERC20 you have in your wallet.
Not every single one, but the majority, yes. And then my question too was, well, what about stable coins? Because that doesn't mean that
he threw me on that one.
Right. USDC is not going to just add a bunch of money to their stack, their holdings, and increase their market cap just because this happened. So, I mean, my opinion. Now, I mean, but now at the same time, it's possible that if Pulse is a success, that, essentially in theory, people could just use Pulse and stop using Ethereum, and Pulse could replace what Ethereum is trying to do by forking the entirety of the network, not just the coin itself.
Mm-hmm. So,
because that's the first time I've ever heard of this. I mean, most hard forks is just like a splitting of, I consider it like a train track, and a train track just splits.
Yeah,
but now you got so much more going into it, because now you're actually taking, the train track is not splitting. The train itself is cloning itself as it's splitting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of interesting. So yeah, Cryptygirl, your thoughts.
Yeah, so like you were saying, Rice, Richard Hart is forking Ethereum, calling it Pulse Chain, and it's going to be the entire Ethereum ecosystem except for a few tokens, but it'll be most ERC20 tokens, Ethereum, everything will be copied. It'll be copied in this fork. Even Uniswap will have a fork on Pulse Chain, which is super cool. And it'll be the largest airdrop in cryptocurrency history. So it'll alleviate the Ethereum network. It'll take a lot of work off of it. So it'll make both chains pretty fast. Pulse Chain will have 3-second blocks, and Ethereum has an average of 13-second blocks. So Pulse Chain will be around 4 times faster. Some of the game theory of Pulse Chain is really cool. 0% inflation, 25% of the fees will be burned, validator fees, and that means it's deflationary. I think that's pretty cool.
Well, that's also something that they're going to be doing already with the London hard fork. So, I mean, depending on when this takes place, because I don't know if there's a date set, they could be forking the London hard fork, which already has a burning mechanism for the transaction fees. That's something that, so Ethereum is trying to do things to fix this very thing that Richard's forking, in a sense. So, I mean, I'm kind of neutral right now about the whole entire thing. I'm not taking a side one way or another. I'm trying to learn more so that I can make an educated choice as to what works best for myself.
I thought it was all cool.
That's very wise.
Rice screwed me up. It got me questioning everything. Like, what? Oh, yeah.
Everything about Pulse Chain right now is still speculation. I mean, they have a test net running, but Pulse Chain's not live. It's not forked yet. So I'm still learning more about it too. And by no means am I a Pulse Chain expert on this, or even a crypto expert in general. I have so much to learn, but I'm not.
Interoperability and bridging between the two. That's kind of interesting. Trading. So you're talking about the basically Pulse Chain, when doing this, will be forking the whole Uniswap protocol. So it gives them their own version of Uniswap, There's a lot of really interesting things. So I mean, I'm curious. I mean, I'm more curious because I was and I still am supportive of what Hex has created as what has been created. The only thing that I really had a problem with was Richard doing you can buy Hex by depositing some Ethereum and you'll get Hex, and he got the Ethereum. That was the only thing. If it would have just been a straight airdrop based off the number of Bitcoin that you had, and there was no other way to obtain it, I would have been 100% on board from day one. I'm not against Hex, and I'm not talking negatively against Hex. I'm just sharing my thoughts and opinion when it comes to that smart contract aspect of it. Just being a fork of Bitcoin was cool. I can understand
you doing that, saying that. I understand a lot of people said that. And when it first really came out, I was like, oh yeah, but he was so asshole up front about everything throughout the whole process. You know what I mean? He was like, you're not going to make any money with this. You're going to lose everything. You can get it this way. This is how it works. I mean, he was just he's like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And then everyone's like, hey, you did this and that. He goes, yeah, that's what I told you. It was like Trump. He was like, I'm going to do this when I get elected. And then
Richard Hart is like the Trump.
And everyone was like, what the hell are you doing? It was like, said I was going to do that, and now I'm going to do it. They're like, you bastards. So, I mean, he was very upfront about everything.
He has a strong personality, which a lot of times makes for a strong community. So, yeah, he has a strong personality. I've noticed he's gotten a lot more kind and considerate as he's talking publicly, more diplomatic, which is good. But yeah, those are good thoughts. So,
I mean, it's always good to be
personally, but.
It's good to be open-minded, and yeah, Cryptygirl, if you need to chime in, definitely just force yourself into the conversation, because sometimes we will talk over top each other. We try not to, but it happens sometimes.
We're good.
I mean, again, like if it was just 100% as far as Hex, if it was the only way to mint your coins was based off how many Bitcoin you owned at the time of the snapshot, that would have been 100% cool. Now, Pulse Chain, I am curious as to how it's ultimately going to go down, how it's going to be accepted and well received.
Yeah.
So, I'm staying open-minded. I'm not trying to, and I actually own Hex. So even though I said what I said, that doesn't make me not support the project or what Hex is about. There's a lot of things about Bitcoin that I don't like, but I still support Bitcoin. So, and Sean agrees with me on a lot of those things as well. That's a whole another crazy conversation. Another one.
I got you
100%. And then I heard Sean agrees with me. I'm like, fuck, I probably do.
So I'm looking forward to the Pulse Chain fork and seeing how it all goes. I'm gonna wait to see how it turns out before really heavily promoting it, because it's still all speculation. So I just want to make sure that it's not going to wreck people. I don't think it will personally, but yeah.
Well, the one thing I'll say,
there's so much to learn about it still.
To add on Richard Hart, I would just add that I think he's smart enough that what he's doing, he may be skating the line, but I don't think he's going to get in any kind of trouble. So he's definitely
an intelligent man.
Yeah, he understands law and how a lot of these things work. So I don't see him, and I wouldn't call Richard Hart a scammer. So, but again, I just don't agree with the Ethereum thing. But
all of his actions thus far have proven to be in benefit of the community, in all the communities, and all the past content he's made, like helping people quit alcohol and quit drugs and smoking. Like everything I've seen has actually been pretty altruistic. And looking into his founding projects like Hex. Like Hex had 3 independent audits. Nothing was found wrong with it.
Yeah, and he paid for all that stuff.
I've done my research. It's important for all you guys to do your research too, but there's nothing that I've seen.
Totally important to note that all those audits and stuff were all, stuff that he had taken care of. All that he paid for all that stuff out of pocket. That was all his complete deal. So
yeah, he did.
Oh wow,
that was really cool because not a lot of founders or cryptocurrencies will do that.
No, I agree. And I mean, Richard, he does care a lot about humanity. He's just very abrasive with the way he comes across to people, but I love him. I mean, I get it.
I understand him, dude. I understand.
Yeah, I would say let's leave it at that because otherwise this is just going to be like a whole Richard Hart show.
Yeah.
So
We haven't really got into the news
No
yet. So
worries.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
minutes.
she's introduced herself. We talked a little bit about what she does. We talked a little bit about Hex and Pulse. So now let's we don't have to get into a lot of detail.
We'll go
This
on
is
to the news.
Yeah, we don't have to. I mean, this isn't like where you got to give. If you don't have any opinion, that's cool. If you don't have any thoughts, that's cool. But basically, and all this is linked down below. This is from a Forbes article. We've heard about regulation taking place in the United States that was going to allow banks to start custodying crypto. Now you're seeing that getting ready to start taking place. So $6 billion NCR opens Bitcoin purchases to 650 banks and credit unions, which ultimately will be able to offer Bitcoin purchases to an estimated 24 million total customers. So I thought it was really cool too that it includes a North Carolina based.
Yeah, so I knew you were going to think that was cool.
Since I live in North Carolina, but that's not why I picked the article. It just happened to work out.
Interesting. All this is happening after Texas said this is how things are going to be, and then the federal government's like, "Fuck, all right, fine." But look, man, my opinion on this is one, it's great. I think we're done.
No, the custody thing happened way before Texas made its little announcement about the cryptocurrency. But he made it public,
and now it's not.
I'm just saying.
So, okay. So much of what we see in the news and we see with government is just wrestling. They argue about stuff that's not even an argument. Should we take away everyone's right to bear arms? I don't know. They can't do this certain things, but they argue about it like it's a possibility to keep people, glued to the set.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is public. This is the way it is. This is permission for all your friends and family that it's like, I don't know about that Bitcoin that's only used by murderers and drug dealers. Now they're like, oh, it's okay for us to get this. Grandpa at the bank said it's fine. We have permission. It's okay. So, boom. Now, I think crypto's here. It's proof that it's here. People are like, what are you invested in? I got in, tech stocks, and I'm in cryptocurrency. It's a normalization. But what the biggest thing about this article is, which nobody seems to pick up on, is where adoption and the market cap is going to explode in crypto. Scroll down.
Okay.
This is talking about the New California Republic, the NCR. I hope somebody gets that joke.
The New California Republic?
Yeah. Is that what is that? Is that what does that say?
National Cash Register?
No, man, the New California Republic. It's from Fallout.
Okay. Is this what you want me to get?
Let me look at the article. Of course, I can't find it.
What are your thoughts, Miss Crypty?
I haven't gotten to read that article, so.
Well, would you, knowing everything you know about cryptocurrency, knowing that you're at least tech savvy and you're able to navigate using wallets and exchanges and things like that, would you be using a bank to custody your crypto?
Personally, I wouldn't, because like you said, I'm tech savvy and I've gotten to learn how to use hardware wallets and have my own private keys, but I could see where it might be helpful for the average person to adopt cryptocurrency, because there's a lot of people that don't want the responsibility of managing their money, as sad as that sounds, and a lot of people might be vulnerable to, disposing of their crypto permanently by sending it to the wrong address. So
right underneath that, in addition, highlight the in addition.
Okay, we'll let her finish.
Okay.
So this, with banks being able to take Bitcoin payments, that's what that is, right?
No, it's saying basically that people can buy crypto through the bank. They can store their crypto in a bank. That crypto is acceptable as an investment now, which I think that's what the masses needed to hear.
I think that's bullish. I love that.
Yeah, that's super. I'm
not going to do that, but for the average person, I think that's a nice transition into cryptocurrency. They might go from that to buying a hardware wallet and learning more about crypto and holding their own private key. So I think that's a good transition for our society to become a cryptocurrency world and more decentralized. overall.
I think that's a stamp of approval that the masses needed to have, because they're not going to. They're not going to. I mean, like my nephews and stuff. I'm like, hey man, do this, try this. You can start farming this, and they just send me their private keys. Here, Uncle Sean, you just do this for me. Here
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, oh man. But this is what I think is the most important. This, I think, is the biggest part of the story. That is the real story. Go ahead and read that, Rice.
Okay, I was looking at pulling up another article, so give me a second. In addition to its work with the financial sector, NCR is the largest provider of point-of-sale software to grocery and other retail stores globally with 45% market share, according to the research firm RBR. In total, NCR serves 180,000 restaurants, retail chains, and more, including Fifth Group restaurants in Georgia and the Metropolitan at the 9 hotels in Ohio, all of which could eventually be open to Bitcoin payments if everything proceeds according to plan.
46% of all point of sale. Anyone that uses a debit card, like almost half.
It said 45.
Of everywhere.
Don't give it 46. It said 45. It said 45.
I said almost half.
Well, you said 46. It said 45.
Does it say 45?
It says 45 very specifically. Yeah.
I can see it says 46, dude, from here.
Well, then you need to get your prescription
I do
fixed.
need to get my prescription fixed. Okay.
Very cool.
I'm going to go look, man, because I think you're just being a dick.
I am.
Fuck you are.
It's all good.
Okay. Anyway, about half. About half. So
are we hurting your
can you
ears,
imagine
Crypty?
if about half,
Yeah, I'm fine.
just automatically overnight, half of the places that you go shop at, that using crypto as a settlement is available?
Yeah.
That would be insane.
Well,
That'd
I
be
mean,
awesome.
in Crypty, if you get a chance, I mean, like Texas, Governor Abbott's been doing a lot of things in regards to Bitcoin and also like making it as a form of payment with grocery stores and things to that effect. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So they're going to be the second state to put it in their uniform commercial code behind.
Man, way to go, Texas. That's awesome.
Texas is doing some interesting things. They're actually challenging the federal government with saying the federal government has no authority over them, that they are a sovereign state, and that they are to govern themselves, which is stuff
As
that
it
the
was
Constitution,
founded.
right,
Yeah.
as the way it was supposed to be, but it's not what happens because a lot of these states receive a lot of federal funding and work with the federal government, and so it's like a relationship.
That's slavery, dude. You know, you tax somebody federally to where they need you to give back some of your money, and then threaten to take it away if they don't obey what you say.
Bingo. That's like the root of a
Obey
lot
what
of
I
this.
say.
Holding leverage over states and legislatures.
I was trying to navigate back through so I can make sure because I'm having to go through different tabs to be able to share this. So the next news story we have is from Decrypt because we just recently had a congressional hearing talking about Bitcoin and the 5 things we learned from the congressional Bitcoin hearing. And this really wasn't like anything that really needed a lot of reading. I just really was just highlighting the fact that Wednesday there was a conversation that took place with Congress, and the 5 takeaways from that are the crypto industry needs better regulations. This is per politicians, per Congress, and lobbyists as well. The 2008 financial crisis was on lawmakers' minds, so they were aware of what took, taking all that stuff in consideration. There's a Democrat representative, Brad Sherman, who
Satan.
Yeah, I was gonna say Sean should be familiar with this guy, but he wants to like literally just shut Bitcoin down. He just wants to kill it from ever.
Brad Sherman, the man who doesn't like crypto, whose backing is by the top 3 is a Chinese bank and 2 Swiss banks. They're the ones that give him like 80% of his money. He doesn't want crypto.
This is one that I really like, though. Number 4, most members of Congress are keen to gain more understanding of cryptocurrencies. So it's good that they're wanting to educate themselves. And then 5 being that fiat's potential for money laundering puts cryptocurrencies in the shade. So it because with cryptocurrencies and a lot of these exchanges, you're having to do like the AML, the KYC stuff. So it's really, it makes a lot of sense when we talk about it doesn't make sense for criminals to use Bitcoin for criminal activity, money laundering, anything like that, because you're posting it all on a public
Permanent
ledger.
ledger.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah,
Do you have any-
trillions of dollars a year are laundered in fiat cash. So, I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, Bank of America had special bags produced for the Mexican cartel to
Wow.
bring money over the border. They
Wow.
had them made, and they got busted. But when it comes to banks, and especially, you can look at what happened with Facebook. Facebook with the Cambridge Analytica thing did this terrible, terrible thing. It was illegal. It was wrong. It was terrible. And then Facebook got fined, the biggest fine in history. And it was like $1,200 to you or me.
That's a small fine.
To you or me, because they were
Right.
fined $1 billion, right?
Oh,
Biggest
gotcha.
fine ever. But Facebook makes like $3 billion a month or something like that, 2.4 billion or something. So when you look at their income to what they got fined, it's literally like you could go out and commit a first-degree felony, and if you make $3,000 a month, $4,000 a month, that you'll be fined $1,200. You know, that's when you think about it, it's just good business. Banks do terrible things and make hundreds of millions of dollars, and then are fined tens of millions. No one goes to jail. Nothing bad
Like a little
happens, and
tap
they
on the
make
wrist.
that money. So that's just good
It's
business.
crazy.
You know, it's good business to commit a crime, make $100 million, and pay a $10 million fine. You literally walk away clean, clear, with $90 million profit.
Never thought about it that way before, but yeah, that's true. But
I mean, a lot of what you have going on in politics and in Wall Street and in financial firms, banking is just literally just organized, legal organized crime.
Yeah.
definitely.
And it just unfortunately isn't looked at as such. We don't really have to talk a lot about this. I just found it interesting that they're just reporting articles about Soros fund getting involved in trading Bitcoin, but it looks like doing a little bit of research on this and listening to a couple other content creators, it looks like Soros has been involved in the crypto space for a little bit longer than they're trying to say in this article. But it's just another one of those things. It's crazy because I think George Soros, if I'm not mistaken, in 2018, not too long after the Jamie Dimon's talking about Bitcoin, just talking negatively about Bitcoin and the Bitcoin price going down about 40,
Footing while buying
25, 40%, and then buying, and then their banks buying it, which technically isn't illegal. It's unethical, but it's not illegal.
That's wild.
And then George Soros was saying something. What was he saying? Like comparing it to rat poison? Is that what it was, Sean?
No, that was Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett. Okay, then maybe Soros didn't say anything publicly, and I'm confusing the two.
Well, they're both really, old people.
Do you, by chance, Crypty, do you know what Soros is well known for?
Trains? No, that's Buffett, right?
He was shorting.
Buffett, yeah.
He was shorting like the British stock markets, I believe.
Yeah, he runs a lot of currencies and like whole economies. I mean, he literally came out and said, "I'm going to crash the pound."
It was the
And
British pound. Yeah, it was the British pound that he
Oh, wow.
crashed.
I have a lot more to learn about Soros.
There was something called Black Wednesday, and it was September 16th, 1992, when the British government was forced to withdraw the pound sterling from the European exchange rate mechanism after a failed attempt to keep the pound over the lower currency exchange limit mandated by the ERM. And so I think he was shorting against it. It was it was crazy what he did, but he ended up making a fortune off of what he did.
He is, he is.
Gotcha.
It's a fucking who said he was evil, dude? Tom in the chat.
He's like a devil.
Richard Hart. He tells you what you're gonna do, and then he fucks everybody. He is, dude. He's an evil guy.
He's a truly evil man. He's gonna be one of those ones that I don't think too many people are going to be sad to hear about when he passes away.
No, he's like 137, so it's just weird that he hasn't
like
already.
Some Scrooge shit. Maybe it's other things keeping him alive. Who knows? Maybe he worships the devil.
Maybe he is the devil.
George Soros is the devil.
Have you ever heard him talk? It's like it's
the news. That's the
weird,
news,
man. It is creepy.
When I pulled this article up, I was thinking about Stripe, not Strike, and I was thinking that Stripe went back on what they were because Strike was stopping some Bitcoin payment, or Stripe was stopping Bitcoin crypto payments. So when I had first pulled this up, that's what I was thinking about. But I think it's really cool that somebody's, going to try to create an alternative.
I think this is like goes along with the other story that crypto, it's done, it's mainstream, it's in the, we're here. We're not just like a fringe thing. It's part of the financial industry. It's going to take over, but right now it's a huge player. This, if you read what someone said, they said that Coinbase's fees are asinine, and that's a huge thing for some Wall Street tight ass to say. But this is the market working. This is these traditional financial industries coming in and saying, "What the hell are you charging people? How are you getting away with this?" Coinbase, Crypto.com, Cash App. How are you ripping people off like 3%, 4%, 7% for whatever for charging people for this? Their goal is to get the average cost down to 0.01%.
Yeah,
but they're going to be at 0.03, which is what it should be. And they're talking about Coinbase. I mean, everyone looks at Coinbase's success, but they don't look at their success as gouging customers. And
right. They didn't have a lot of competition.
Yeah, but this is one of the first. Right, it's kind of monopoly. And this is one of the first real the industry's calling them out and saying, hey, they made almost $2 billion last year by gouging customers. Why are you all patting them on the back? Because it's cool that they brought adoption and made things easier, but they really did rip people off in doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's crazy. Yeah, because I mean, you're seeing here where it's talking about 94% of which are coming from fees as high as 3%. So it says that Coinbase made 1.8 billion in revenue in the first quarter of 2021 with 771 million in profit. 94% of which coming from fees as high as 3%. So I mean, to see somebody bringing in something that's going to be executing 0.3%. or below 0.1%, that's going to be great. Because, I mean, basically what they're talking about doing is allowing for people to be able to buy Bitcoin for little or no fee.
Yeah, and this, you got to think, they're going to make tons of money.
Buy and sell, not just buy. So selling as well. So if people want to,
but they're going to make
cash
tons of money at 0.03%.
Yeah.
So Coinbase is charging 10 times what the industry standard should be from what they're saying.
And what do you think that's going to force someone like Coinbase to do? So what are your thoughts, Ms. Crypty?
Well, they'll have to be competitive. That's the free market capitalism at work, which I love free market capitalism. So good competition gives better prices for everyone with more quality service and products. I love that. And also, since we were talking about low fees, I like that Strike is going to be offering no fees for Bitcoin trading. No fees. I love that. And also, for Celsius, they don't charge their customers any fees for transacting in the Celsius app. And on DigiByte, the cryptocurrency, decentralized cryptocurrency, not a company, not an exchange, right? The DigiByte transaction fees are 1/10 of a penny, which that's one reason I love DigiByte. And one guy did a $6 million transaction for under a penny fee. Like, that's awesome.
No, that is awesome. And I mean, there are a lot of competitive, decentralized cryptocurrencies that are in the similar position. I mean, you're not paying a lot for Litecoin transactions, for Bitcoin Cash transactions. Even XRP has zero transaction. So I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there is a lot of benefits when it comes to something like that. What I would love to see once this happens is that they're offering other cryptocurrencies as well, though. But being
That'd
that
be
they're
nice.
they're aiming for the cheapest and easiest place on the planet to acquire Bitcoin. So I mean, anything that
Super
we can
cool.
do to make it easier for people to get involved in crypto, I think is definitely the way to go.
Definitely.
And the last thing I want, do you have anything you want to add to that, Sean?
No, like I said, dude, it just when I read the article, I was like, yep, there you go. Market works. I mean, the one thing is like the one article was just like proof that, you know, crypto is here to stay. We're not just a, you know, a kid, you know, with the big players. We're a huge player. And now the market is basically working and it's policing itself. You know, I mean, that's 10 times what it should be. So everything's working the way it should, man. I think it's all very, very positive in a good direction.
Now, I used to be very anti Coinbase, and I'm not as anti Coinbase as I used to be, just because I've had some, but knowing how much they make off their fees, you know, I'm still not. I wouldn't be utilizing their services when I could be saving a lot more money using somebody else 100%. But what I will say about Coinbase, which I haven't shared a lot on shows, is I made a mistake of sending Tether USDT to a USDC address in the Coinbase wallet, but it technically is the same address because it's Ethereum. So what happened was when Ethereum added, or when Coinbase added USDT to their added coins, my balance showed up in the wallet. So I didn't lose the funds. It was like $300 worth of stable coin. But I really found that to be commendable, that, you know, because I mean, they could have just sent it. There was nothing that they could have kept the funds. There was nothing that,
Definitely.
because if I'm sending to the wrong address on a coin that they don't have listed, then it's just kind of like, if that wouldn't have been a custodial service, that I would have been SOL on that.
And you really can't be mad at them. I mean, it's the same thing, dude. You can look at one side of it and say it's the market, they're overcharging, but it's the market. So
the market allowed for it to happen.
Yeah, people paid for it. They did do a service and they made a ton of money. Right. They made as much money as they could. If they would have tried to charge 9%, maybe people wouldn't have bought it. Because there's been times when I did not buy it. And their fees used to be higher. And then because there used to be a dramatic difference between Cash App and Coinbase. Dramatic. And now it's not so dramatic. So I know their fees probably did come down.
You know, I imagine that it will continue.
They weren't using slave labor. They weren't, you know, doing any terrible things. They were just overcharging people, but people were paying it.
Right.
You know, it's like you get mad at people who buy stuff at one place and then sell it for more on Amazon. That's if people buy it, if people pay for it, that's it.
Yeah, that's the free market working. So I mean, it's all you can do is just be upset that you didn't, you know, take advantage of the idea first when it really comes down to it. But this last article, which I found to be really interesting, another short article, but I wanted to highlight it because of what they were talking about. And this is more of an opinion piece versus necessarily a factual journalistic article. But from Cointelegraph, what is really behind El Salvador's Bitcoin law? And this was something that, you know, I kind of was in the back of my mind that just got buried, and I forgot all about this until reading it. But one of the reasons what this article was talking about with El Salvador is because they were having so many problems within their own monetary system that they adopted the US dollar as their currency. Mm-hmm. And with everything that's going on with the US dollar, them making Bitcoin legal tender gives them the opportunity to combat the US dollar, which is basically killing their country. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, economically, they were reliant upon the dollar. And because of that, with everything going on with all the money printing, all the bailouts, the inflation, that affects them even more so than it affects us, because they're in another country, not in the United States, but using the dollar as their tender. And so this gives them that opportunity to be able to kind of combat this inflation and potential hyperinflation kind of coming, and it kind of talks a little bit about the financial literacy that you were mentioning at the beginning of the show, Crypty. So what are your
I
thoughts
love
hearing
that.
about this whole thing? Just El Salvador adopting Bitcoin, and then the reason being that the US dollar was their currency, and this is a way for the country to be able to try to protect itself.
Was that to Sean or to me?
To you.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. With countries using the United States dollar as their reserve currency, but then the United States prints 20% of the total supply of dollars in 2020. So we're definitely inflating the supply a lot, and countries are looking for an alternative now. I love that El Salvador made Bitcoin legal tender, because Bitcoin is capped at 21 million. And I think that's a wise move. This article that I did get to glance over was just saying that a lot of citizens in El Salvador don't have access to internet, so it might be hard for them to actually be transacting in cryptocurrency, which makes sense. So I hope that their situation improves with getting access to internet, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. But what
No, I
I'm
think
curious about
with
is
what you were saying about the internet thing, though, I think that they are working on like giving the citizens a phone that will have access and have wallets built in, because they're also talking about giving every adult over the age of 18 $30 worth of Bitcoin in their wallets.
Yeah, that's huge, dude. In September, huge. I think that's happening.
Yeah. I can look it up, see exactly when it's going to be.
I saw what Identity Block said. That was that's funny. It's not funny because it's going to be sad, but it's true.
What?
That the CIA customer service department will be getting in touch with El Salvador very soon.
$30 in Bitcoin.
So yeah, I love the way that they did it, because they made it. I mean, governments suck, but they made it legal tender. And they said that in doing that, every business has to accept it. It's the same thing as the dollar. Everything's backed by violence. So Bitcoin is basically backed by violence now, as well as code, because everyone has to accept it or they get in trouble. But in the law, they made it so that if you don't have electricity or if you don't have access to the internet, then you're exempt from it. You don't have to accept it. It's fine. But any business, if you have internet, phone, or electricity you have to accept it.
Okay, That's cool. Yeah, I was trying to pull up, see if there's any more information on this about when they're doing that. $30.
It's like September or December, but yeah, everybody gets $30, man. Every citizen. So that is
a big thing.
And for me, I knew this was coming. I've been waiting for it for years. I personally thought it was going to be Africa, but I think as a continent, Africa is a little bit more unstable than South America. I knew it would be Africa or South America because the need is there. The need is still in Africa with the hyperinflation. It's in so many countries and so many currencies. The need is present. And wherever, necessity is, that's where it's going to happen. So I think that side of adoption is starting, and Paraguay is jumping on board for the same thing.
Yeah,
it's all going to, it's going to go through.
Panama's talking about it too.
Yeah. It's going to go through South America. It'll hit Africa. And then it's just like the other articles we've been talking about today. It's just part of the, part of life. It's like, yeah, it's Bitcoin. It's not going to be, do you know what Bitcoin is? Have you heard of it? We accept that.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'll just use Bitcoin. It'll be weird if they don't accept Bitcoin, Like now we're like kind of like the Discover card. Like, oh, they accept the Discover card. Cool. Huh. But, pretty soon it'll be, a very, very common thing.
It's like a snowball rolling downhill. Like one country accepts it as legal tender, then other countries are like, okay, I think it's safe. And then everyone follows suit and becomes more widely accepted.
And then the market comes into play where, like a couple of years ago, you don't take debit cards? No, cash, check. Like, oh, well, I'm not going to to buy anything here. Then I'm sorry, goodbye. We have an ATM over there. Yeah, but then we get pay like a $4 fee so that I can buy something here rather than go across the street. I'm gonna go across the street. So the market comes into play, and then they start accepting debit cards. Just like it's going to be the same thing with crypto.
It's true.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting thing to see. I mean, basically, aside from countries adopting, which I think you're going to see a lot of it being poorer nations that I think are trying to hedge against the inflation that's coming with the U.S. dollar. So it's going to be an interesting thing just to see how all this transpires. I mean, we're seeing banks trying to remain relevant. We're seeing, basically the legacy financial system trying to integrate itself into blockchain and crypto as much as possible so that they can maintain relevancy and still be profitable as a business model, when cryptocurrency is really in blockchain is an answer to get away from all that when it comes down to it. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. I had somebody reach out to me just a couple of days ago that was talking about somebody wanting to invest a lot of money into some cryptocurrencies. And he's like, can I just go to a bank and get them to load it up like crypto in a wallet for me? And I'm like, we're not there yet. And why would you pay a bank to do that for you when you could do it yourself? It just doesn't make very much sense. The whole point of this technology is to get rid of that intermediary, that third party, that middleman. So why use that middleman to help you with this technology when all it just really takes?
Yeah, dude, but in all honesty, we're 3 ASE certified mechanics sitting here talking about that and saying, why would you pay someone to fix your car? Just do it yourself, man. And most people are like, what? No, I don't know how that stuff works.
Was that a big piece of meat that you had?
It's sushi, man. Okay, I need to eat it now.
So
I'm really hungry.
Dead Day says, was that ribeye?
Dude, that was not ribeye. That's a Wagyu steak brisket for the 4th of July.
Ooh.
A 25-pound Wagyu steak brisket.
Nice. Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, Cryptygirl, I guess we're going to get ready to wrap things up.
All right.
Me and Sean will end things here, but do you have anything you want to add to the conversation or anything you want to say before we do wrap up today's video?
Thank you so much for having me on. It was a blast. And if you guys want to find me, my channels are at Cryptygirl on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit. If you see someone using my photos without the handle Cryptygirl, it's not me. I'm not affiliated with them. And
are you having scammer problems?
So many impersonators, so many.
Yeah.
I can't even count them anymore. But yeah, do your research. If you guys want to learn more about Mad Energy, go to discovermad.com and sign up for our very first web class in 6 days. So
do you have information about that on like your Twitter and stuff like that?
My last couple tweets, I have a few videos talking about it.
Okay, cool. So people can find it down below.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we definitely got to do this again. Hope you have safe travels getting back home and all that good stuff.
Thank you.
The other thing I was going to add is, for some reason, when I see that background behind you, I keep thinking that's like a samurai sword or something like that.
Oh, the metal sign.
Yeah, it just kind of looks like especially when the video is smaller, kind of just looks like and it looks like a dragon almost on the side there. So it kind of looks like a martial arts studio.
Oh, you mean this one?
Yeah, that kind of looks like a dragon, and then the white shelving things kind of look like they could be.
Yeah, I could see
samurai
that.
Swords, yeah.
That one over there is actually the shape of Lake Pondere, which is the local lake in this area where the Mad Studio is located. So
okay, very cool.
What that is. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you again for joining us. I appreciate.
Yeah,
and I'll definitely be in touch.
Happy 4th
you guys
of
are
July.
awesome.
Yeah, happy 4th of July to you.
For sure. Happy Independence Day. Thanks,
Yes, take care.
everybody.
Oh, I had to cough.
Thanks, Walkabout.
What's going on, my friend? Any final thoughts? Anything you want to add?
That was fun.
That was fun.
I think a lot of positive stuff, man.
Yeah, I agree.
I think for adoption, I think for
Sucks we weren't able to stream on your channel, man. We're gonna
Yeah,
get
it
that
does suck.
stuff figured out before next week. I'll download it and send you a copy of it on WeTransfer if you want to upload it.
Thanks for everyone that came over and subscribed, man. I hit 19,000 like I wanted to, so it's awesome. Really appreciate it.
Well, let's try to get that number up. I was able to cross over 20, thankfully. You know, I definitely got to appreciate 20,000 subscriber, man. It's awesome.
Whoa, dude. You just gave me epilepsy.
That is pretty wild.
It is.
I had a background that was somewhat like that. This is the broken glass background. And then this is like the broken, screwed up TV background. And the blue snow.
The blue snow's trippy.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Dude, have that on when Ken is on. And just watch it.
Get lost. That would be fun. Sweet. All right, brother. Well, cool. I enjoyed.
Very cool.
I got to work on my Meta Hero video.
Cool. It's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
All the just the crazy shit, dude. When I think about the Louvre, like getting their mobile studio and scanning all the art, you know what I mean? And then someone actually being able to buy an NFT of like the Mona Lisa, the real Mona Lisa, a scanned NFT that you could own that. That's like crazy.
Yeah, well, people could check your video out on it, and then people on my channel can stay tuned because I'm doing a review as well. It's a sponsored video. But yeah, these guys are using meta scanning technology. It's like high definition, crazy cameras that do like these 3D modeling so that you could actually like Ready Player One yourself. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, but then another thing, like my dog is 17 years old.
That would be cool. That would be
like,
really.
If I could scan my dog.
If you could get 3D imaging of your pets or something like that means a lot to you, so you can keep it in some sort of format. Because then when we already have like some NFT picture frames, but then when we start having some really cool like hologram kind of stuff where we got like a little thing, push a little button, a little hologram, and all of a sudden you got like the
stuff they're doing now, like being able to put that into a video game. Like you go play. We're talking about Fallout. You go play Fallout, at the beginning you create your character. So it would be like you just have to click you own a character and you put yourself, you're in the game. And then like for your pet, you could have your pet that, you know, has been gone for 5 or 6 years is there. It's cool. It's kind of insane. I was just going to say something. Did I forget what it was?
It must not have been really important.
It was pretty good, man. It's pretty important.
Was it funny dad joke? A cheesy dad joke?
No, that's really important. I wouldn't forget those.
Did it come back?
Thanks, Phil. Appreciate it, man. Trying to.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and end the stream. I'm going to eat and then get to work, so I will probably get in touch with you tomorrow. Potentially, and then I'm.
I remember now.
Leaving Sunday and Monday. I'm out of town.
The CEO of Meta Hero. We should interview him together on a video. Have you looked at him at all? Researched him at all?
Well, I saw that he was on a cover of a Forbes magazine. I think that he's like
one of the Forbes 100 richest, like youngest guys. And
yeah, I think like the original concept is self-funded.
And he has some. I think he probably has an oligarch backer.
And then he did the 10 set thing, which is another deflationary token that I don't know a lot about what 10 set is, but yeah, he seems to be
he's a very freedom oriented guy. He's seems like a really cool dude. But I think it would be a good interview for us to both do together with him. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we got to talk to the peeps.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, brother. Well, I'm gonna play this intro video that you made that we're going to change the music to, and then wrap up the video, and see you next week. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to both of our channels, smash that like button, and as always, I encourage you to be the change by practicing change.